Hello and welcome to Primal Attraction. I'm your host, Mela Marlity, and today I'm joined by my best friend, Jack. Jack is a great individual. I'm really lucky to have him in my life. He's been there for me through thick and thin, and our friendship has lasted quite a while, and it's definitely gone through its trials and tribulations. I can feel the washing machine vibrating under my arse right now.
That's what life's about, isn't it?
A little bit of pleasure here and there, do you know what I mean?
Free machines.
Well, AI is the future. It's the first day of the new year, and me and Jack have been talking about what we want to manifest into 2025. We haven't actually spoken about what we're manifesting with each other properly yet. This is going to be the first time that we reveal what our desires are, and we're just going to chit chat about that. I think this is the first time that we're having someone on, so this is practice. But who better to practice with than
me?
Yeah. There we go. Manifestations. What do you think was some of your biggest learnings from 2024 as an individual?
What are my biggest learnings?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really hard question. That's difficult.
Okay, what's one challenge that you faced that's left you with a thought that you now carry?
I guess that's interesting, both on a personal, emotional level. I've probably learnt to take a step back and not to fill space and to let other people speak, to listen more, to be more intentional with what I say and what I reveal to other people. I think I've learnt that you don't have to give everything away up front, and that actually waiting and considering what you're going to say is much more effective in how you want to communicate to other people. And it's not always down to me to solve everything. And that sometimes I can take a step back and I won't play that role. I often put myself into the situations where I am playing the decision maker, the planner, the one that's all in control because I have a control issue. I've acknowledged that, and I think part of that is like feeling like I have the power to be in control of what happens. But I've learned that, one, that isn't sustainable because it takes a massive toll on yourself and your mental health capacity, well-being, but also it's not fair to other people around you. And what I've learned is that everyone will make a different decision to you, and everything will be different because we're all human, and we all have our nuances that are so special and fantastic about us. And being cognizant of the fact that someone will do what you won't do. Like, you're not all going to do the same thing all the time, and that's quite beautiful, really.
I think that is really beautiful, but I really struggle with that because I think that I have this need to do things in a way that I've seen be successful through other people in the past. And as of late, I've realised that you can't be the most successful by emulating other people because they're doing the best at them. You have to do the best at you, and whether that means that your decisions are different, that's the best for you in your present moment. So if that looks weird or kooky, that's all good. That was a really interesting answer though. What would you say in terms of control? Like, what gave you clarity around that being an issue for you?
You mean like other people telling me?
No, as in like internally, because I think anyone else can say something to you about how you behave or whatever, but it's once you acknowledge that as an individual that you then realise, oh, maybe there's some validity to this. What was the triggering feeling or thought for you to realise, oh, actually I do tend to do this?
I think it probably started at work. It was having like an appraisal with my manager, and she highlighted it. But I've always been aware of it. And maybe it's conversations I've had with you, for example, and also like my housemates over the last couple of years. I guess it wasn't one revealing moment that allowed me to have clarity on it. It was a series of learnings, and it was actually me taking the time to reflect on my own actions.
Okay.
I think the idea of slowing down is a really important one.
Right.
And the fact that I can often be so impatient and like slowing down. And I think I'm at a point in my life now where I am ready to like slow down. I don't want to Yeah, I don't know how to articulate that.
What does slowing down look like for you?
Slowing down means taking care of myself and making sure that the fundamentals in my life are where I want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
I know my sleeping, my eating, my friendships, my family, my work.
Very primal.
Very primal. And slowing down is duly considering how I'm meeting those in my life and what I need to do in order to improve my well-being, improve my happiness.
So going forward into 2025, how are you going to monitor those things and make sure that you are doing those things?
Journal more. I was looking back at my journal. I've been journaling for like a few years, on and off for like 10 years. Journaling was really important for me, especially coming to terms with my sexuality. It allowed me to process a lot. And I always knew that it was a good medium for me to process my emotions and my mental health. But I was looking back at last year and I was looking at some of the things that I wanted to do, and it was journal more. And I've only journaled 10 times this year. And I know that every time that I write my thoughts down, it is so much better. Like just the feeling afterwards, like closing that book and being like, you know what, I process my feelings. And I was watching a video yesterday, and it was, if you write down your thoughts and what you're worrying about and your feelings for 12 minutes every day, instead of going to text your friend or your family member and saying all the things, like trying to vent about all the things that you're worried about in your life, why don't you just write them down, see how you feel afterwards, and see if the problems are still as big. That is one thing that I'm going to do, because I've learnt that I shouldn't be so dependent on other people to make me feel okay. And journaling does do that. I mean, I've been writing poems for the last 1 or 2 years.
Look at you.
I know. I mean, my friend passed away 3 or 4 years ago, and that's when I knew journaling really helped me then. And I think I wrote a poem for her, and it was posted on her obituary page. And that was a really nice moment for me to reflect.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, writing is so reflexive for me, cathartic, and it allows me to really explore those deep and dark emotions that you have. Yeah. I mean, there is power in word. So yeah, I'm definitely going to take that forward, and to try to have more of a routine and a lifestyle, a better routine.
What would your ideal day look like?
If I had work or not had work.
If you had, like, I mean, it needs to be a sustainable and realistic routine, right? So with work,
I would love to wake up before 8 a.m. I would love to make my own smoothie. I would love to have a really fulfilling breakfast. I would enjoy reading my book for 15 minutes, catching up on the news for a bit, maybe writing in my journal about manifesting how I want the day to be, walking to work in the outdoors, and just feeling content, and then getting to work, having time away from my phone, being productive at work, feeling like I'm being successful, walking home, relaxing with a cup of tea, going to the gym maybe, and having dinner with friends, playing maybe a little game.
Oh, a little bit
Scraps.
of Scrabs.
And then maybe watching some Grey's Anatomy.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that sounds reasonable, and you could do it, but what's stopping you from doing it at the moment?
I go to bed too late.
Yeah.
Wake up too late sometimes.
Yeah.
I often don't have breakfast. I don't go to the gym. I do my workouts, my stretches.
Push-ups.
Yeah, but it gives me
hippie hoos,
which we call hives. Basically, the doctor said I've got an allergy to my sweat.
Yeah.
Which is the bane of my life. So for the last 18 months or so, whenever I get hot, even like walking to the train station, doing a workout for 10 minutes, getting stressed by missing a train, waking up with a nightmare, I get rashes all over my body, I get itchy, and it's awful. And the more I think about it, the worse it makes me feel.
How does it impact your mental health in your day-to-day?
Honestly, it's starting to really affect my day-to-day.
Yeah.
To really, impact the way that I feel about myself, and it's stopping me from exercising and making me feel better.
Yeah. What do you think some small steps are that you can do to put yourself in the right direction despite having the hippie hoos?
What, with exercising?
Yeah, because I think that is quite a big one for you. Like, as long as I've known you, you've always been a healthy person, and you've always focused on making sure that you're able to do things, and also aesthetically. Like, I know that there's a certain way that you want to look, and of late, as your friend, I feel like the hives have gotten in the way of you feeling comfortable and actually taking control of it in a public way.
Yeah.
I know that you work out and stuff and you do that at home, which is so cool, but I can envision the person that you want to be. And I know, like, when you went and got your gym stuff and you were like, oh yeah, I'm going to the gym, like I'm loving it, whatever, it makes me sad when I don't get to see that side of you anymore.
Makes me sad. I mean, we have a 4-day week, which means that I have the time to do stuff. And I've been going to the gym like on and off since uni, and I haven't been going ever since I moved here. It's like 18 months ago, and I was going to the gym maybe like twice a week before, and it made me feel so good. And I had to go with some people first to make me feel comfortable, but then I got into the full swing of things, and I felt so proud of myself.
Aww.
And then I get to this point now where it feels insurmountable.
I don't know what that means.
It's like a hurdle that I can't face, that I can't walk over or jump over.
Okay, so let's break that down. What is the hurdle?
Going into that gym, knowing, I do know what to do to a certain extent, but people there seeing me, me having my rashes, me feeling uncomfortable, itching.
So if you go to the gym and you start your workout and you notice yourself getting the hives, what do you think you should do about it?
Well, once I start noticing it, there's nothing going back. Like, that anxiety will kick in and that will make the hives worse.
So is that something where you need to take yourself out for a second and you need to go to the loo, or you need to step outside, or is that something that you can just push through? I
mean, I just have to push through it.
Okay.
The best thing is try and not notice it.
Okay. So it's not something that can actively stop you working out?
No, I mean, I've tried some breathing exercises before, like I'm getting stressed and maybe it does work. But I probably need to start going to the gym just to see what happens.
Yeah. It's like science, right? You've got the hypothesis.
Yeah.
You actually need to carry out the experiment and see what happens.
Yeah. Because I can't keep complaining about it.
No.
Because I'm on my Instagram and I see these people, especially men, who their body's amazing and exercise is their life. I mean, some of it can take with a pinch of salt. I mean, yeah.
What you see online is only...
Exactly, but it's just that I wish I could sometimes look like that or feel like that. And the thing is, I've had an interesting relationship with my body. I've always found myself... I mean, I was a bit chubby before I had a massive growth spurt. Not chubby, but like I wasn't...
Puppy fat.
Yeah, like, and then I had a massive growth spurt and then I became really skinny. And it's always been really hard for me to put on weight. And then I got to a point where I actually really enjoyed my body, especially when I was going to the gym. And of late, I have enjoyed the way I look. But then recently, in the last 2 or 3 months, 4 months, I've just had this obsession that I'm losing my hair. I'm starting to get weight around my stomach. I've got hives.
As your friend, I can categorically tell you, I was a bit shocked there when you said in the last 2 to 3 months you've started to feel different. Because there has been no difference in your appearance in the last 2 to 3 months whatsoever.
Well, I've definitely put on weight.
No.
I have.
I mean, you might feel like that, and I'm sure, I mean, you see yourself every single day, right? But I still think you're a very handsome man.
Thanks.
You're welcome, babe. But it doesn't really matter what I think.
Yeah, obviously I really appreciate that. And I know that I am a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you always have to have your back. But it's always about your perspective. And if you feel confident, you are confident. And
Absolutely.
So many people can tell you that you look a certain way or you are a certain way. But if you don't feel that, then it means fuck all. So it's about changing your mindset. So
how do you think that you can start changing your mindset? What are the steps that you're going to take?
To start enjoying the way I look. I mean, going to the gym is one. I don't just want to go to the gym to look better. I want to feel better. And I think that is what has always driven me. Like, yes, I want to have better mobility. I want to be able to actually touch my toes.
Oh. See, that's a reasonable goal, right?
Yeah. So I want to go to the gym to feel flexible and mobile and healthy.
So maybe the first couple of times that you go to the gym, focus on stretching. You don't need to get straight into the weights if you don't feel it.
I can do cardio.
Yeah. You're going to do it?
Yeah.
I'll come with you the first time if you need a friend.
I'll do it when I move house at the end of the month.
That sounds like an excuse to me.
No, I mean, doesn't make sense. I can't just...
You can go for a day. Shall I tell you something that really helped me when I first started? So the first gym that I went to was kind of old school bodybuilding gym. Like, the equipment was rusty and rickety. It's still, I mean, it is a great gym, but that for me was like my corals, you know, in Finding Nemo when they're in the reef. That was my reef gym, and I'm nowhere near like a confident gym girl or whatever, but like being able to take space in that small gym then put me in a position where I felt a little bit more comfortable in the new gym. I remember when I first went to the new gym, I cried in the car park before my PT session because I was like, oh my God, this gym is so different. Like, all the gym girls are here, whatever. So maybe even if you could take yourself to, I mean, the gym is literally 2 minutes that way. Yeah. If you could take yourself for...
But I think the fact that you had a PT...
Yeah, that helped me. Yeah, 100%, because it forced me. But I haven't actually spoken about this that much, but when I first joined the old gym, I saw the PT cards and I was like, I really want to do that. It seems inaccessible to me. And I remember even messaging her on Instagram, I felt this overwhelming sense of like fear and anxiety. And when she didn't reply to me at first instance, like she took maybe 2 days to respond, I was like, maybe I'm not even good enough for a PT. Maybe like she doesn't even want to train me. And I was just chatting all this shit in my head because I was like, oh, she's like seen me maybe once or twice in the gym. And it's literally the tiniest thing that can set you off. But as soon as you make that move and your life has the potential to change, it's incredible. So even if that's you going into the gym and asking behind the reception, how much is a day pass? Can I bring a friend? That's... job's a good one. You've tried. You've put yourself in that space even for a second. Or if you're like, can someone walk me around the gym and just show me what it's like?
Yeah, definitely.
So try that here before you find what you want from your new gym, your new place, is what I would recommend. Up to you.
It's just a mountain to climb.
Don't look at the mountain. Look at the first step. Where do you need to put your foot? Have you got like a little rock or like what's the terrain like?
I need to put the shoes on.
Yeah, you need to put the fucking shoes on first, mate. Yeah. Never ever look at the top of the mountain. It will make it seem insurmountable. It will make it seem impossible. Just look at the first step.
Yeah, I definitely need to refocus that for my mind in the new now it's 2025.
Yeah. So we've kind of spoken about what your ideal daily routine looks like, so that's something that you can implement. What are the other things that you're hoping to achieve in the year?
To be comfortable with my uncomfortableness. To get myself out of my comfort zone. I don't do it enough.
What's an example of uncomfortableness to you?
Doing something alone. Meeting new people. Going to the gym. like meeting new people, I would say, or doing new activities or things that I enjoy. Okay. Finding hobbies. I don't have a hobby.
What are some of the...
I don't do anything. I'm boring.
What are some of the activities you would like to do in the new year? Like
rock climbing, or join a book club, or like do pottery, maybe do like a drawing class, painting class. I mean, I live in one of the best cities in the world.
Absolutely.
The arena of opportunity is plentiful. And I should not take that for granted. Because I will regret that completely and utterly.
What are some of the things that have held you back from doing those activities in the past?
Confidence. Cost. I'm not going to say time, because I have time. I also volunteer as a school governor for a school, which is what I achieved last year. And I never thought I would set out to do that. And that has brought me out of my comfort zone, I think. But I'm glad I've done it.
Well, it's put you around a table that you didn't actually anticipate you'd be around.
And it was an opportunity that I never thought I would do that in my life.
Mm.
And it's kind of funny, but it's also kind of amazing.
Why do you think it was something that you would never do?
I mean, going back into a school environment, I did like school, but school was a really tough time for me. I went to a comprehensive school in Maidstone in Kent, and the boys were pretty horrible to me.
What sort of things would they do or say?
Homophobia, call me a faggot, slurs. It was relentless, actually.
And how did that affect your confidence at the time?
Hugely.
What would it make you do differently?
I would avoid walking down the corridor if I saw certain people walking down. I wouldn't go into certain rooms. I would ensure that I wasn't the last person in the classroom, because it was horrible. And the fact that most of my friends just sat there and watched and didn't say anything. And my brother as well. Like I've got a twin brother. We went to school together, and yeah, I'm
really sorry to hear that.
I mean, he faced some slurs as well, but I guess it was hard for him too. I don't resent him for that, but on reflection, must have been tough for him. But school was really tough.
So through your governor role, what kind of differences would you like to see in the education sphere?
It's hard because as a governor, you shouldn't be too operational, and you shouldn't be deciding how a school is run But as a governor, I can have influence around the culture of the school and the policies that are in place, and to ensure that the head teacher and the other senior members of staff are taking into consideration things like bullying and homophobia, transphobia, racism, which are all important things to me that I think about. And what I've realised is that homophobia is still rife in schools, and maybe I had these rose-tinted glasses on, or I was naive to think that would dissipate at some point, and it hasn't. And I know how hard it is for young kids, but there is so much more out there that help young kids, and I wish that I'd sought that as a younger gay man.
What was it like coming to terms with your sexuality?
Pretty beautiful.
Pretty beautiful? Why?
Because I spent so many years of my life in denial, and now I look back at it and I'm like, why? But it was a rite of passage to feel that way. I mean, I didn't come out really properly until I was 18 or 19. I just felt this shame. I still feel shame. And I have a very accepting family and friends. I mean, that's not to say, I've faced adversity. I have. Through people at school, through people on the street, feeling like I don't fit in sometimes. And this relationship that I have with boys is also very difficult, because I have this deep insecurity still. Like, if I were to see a group of boys walking on the side of the street, if they were in their teenagers, I would walk to the other side, cross the road, yeah. Can
you expand on that a little bit more in terms of the shame?
Yeah, I think shame can manifest very differently, and I don't want to speak for all gay men especially, but shame can be portrayed in many ways. But I think it is that deep-rooted shame that a lot of gay men have grown up with, about not liking who they are. But through university, that really helped me. I mean, I had 2 other gay guys in a flat of 10, which was pivotal for my self-realization of my sexuality. I think my life would be very different right now. I mean, we were having a conversation earlier, weren't we, about these different people that you meet in your life and how different your life course can then take. I mean, or just the people that you meet.
But I mean, I remember when I first met you, you said that you were bi, and then obviously was that through living with the other gay guys in your flat that you kind of realised where your sexuality actually lay? Yeah.
I think I always knew I was gay, but I've always had a very deep connection with women, and I think that's why it took me a while to realise it was only platonic. I mean, still to this day, sometimes I question that, because I can form much better relationships with girls than I can do boys, which baffles me.
Why so?
It baffles me because men are the ones that I'm meant to feel attracted to the most, and yet I cannot seem to get... I've never been with someone that utterly and completely been myself.
Even in a relationship?
Yeah.
But you feel like you can do that with women?
Yeah. With a lot of the girlfriends I have.
So what's holding you back from
I
revealing
honestly
yourself?
don't know. It's a question that I ponder all the time. And I think I mould myself when I'm dating someone or when I'm with someone. And sometimes that isn't from who they are. I think it's me. It's me.
Is there a need for you to fit the other person's life because you want success?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Or me just wanting to be enough. I think if I look at it, sometimes I never feel enough. I never feel good enough. Maybe it's because I've not found the right person to make me feel that way.
How could you make yourself feel in your own day-to-day life?
Well, and that's why since I've been single, I have been working on validating myself, and that works. But as soon as I get into a relationship, that goes out the bloody window.
Yeah, I've experienced something similar, and I found that I can be in a really great place, and then as soon as someone else starts validating who I am, how I look, how I feel, the need for me to do it for myself dissipates. And I think that it's really important to maintain your own personal opinions of yourself and your values and reinforce them regularly, despite someone else doing that for you as well. Because otherwise, once that person's gone, or once that person stops doing it, you stop doing it for yourself altogether.
Yeah, and they shouldn't be dependent on that person giving that to you, right?
Yeah. So what kind of things were you validating yourself on before that you would then kind of stop doing in a relationship?
What I bring to the table in terms of my personality, I've come to realise I've always been a unique boy. I'm quite special. I think in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm quite weird. And I know a guy has never really seen that side to me, because I'm afraid that isn't enough for them. But what I've come to realise recently is that actually that is what makes me, and I get validation from myself knowing that I like who I am. And also I'm very comfortable with my sexuality now, which has taken many, many, many years.
I would say that your goofiness is one of the things that I love the most about you, and one of the recognisable characteristics. Like, if anyone were to ask, actually, you know what? You know the stun one bun and like the vocab? That shit has spread into other friendship groups and circles of mine. And that's what you're known for, in an extent of like, who's Jack? Oh, stun one bun. So show that.
It's funny because my friend Laura, I've known Laura for a very long, since about 4, and her family all use, like, it's called Jack's language. It stems from me and my brother being really weird and not having that unique twin relationship, which I think is very interesting. Yeah, I want a boy to see that side.
Yeah. How are you going to do that? You know what, in the dating sphere, how can you incorporate your goofiness from the get-go?
That's a good question. Just be afraid not to be myself, and actually just don't give a fucking shit.
Yeah.
And if they don't like it, they don't like it. I think the only person, with my ex, we broke up, it's over 1.5 years ago. I loved him, and my longest relationship, but like, I wasn't truly I was myself, but I wasn't like my weird self, because he thought it was a bit cringe. And I don't want to sit here and slag him off, because maybe it was misinterpreted what he meant by that, but he just found it a bit cringe, I think. And that scared me. And when I asked my friend Gina, and I was like, oh, do you find this cringe? And she was like, Jack, that's why I love you. And it was at that point when I was like, right.
Right, I wouldn't say you're cringe.
No, exactly. Gina was like, it's not that it's cringy. It's like, that's who you are and why we love you. And yeah, like, and I don't think it is cringy.
No.
And I was dating someone last year, and actually a lot of my goofy side did come out. It did come out, and he highlighted it and said, actually, Jack, you're quite goofy. And it was at that point I never thought I was goofy, and I was like, but then it was like, it just makes sense. I am. Who cares? And he did like it.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why he liked me.
Do you think that he was uncomfortable with how confident you were in it, and how maybe insecure they were without it, maybe?
God, I hope he doesn't watch this.
Me
too. Yeah, I think I can be very sure of myself, and that's what I've come to learn over the last year, that actually I've done quite a lot of self-exploratory, and I kind of know who I am. I sometimes have moments, like I was looking back at my journal over 1 year ago, and I was in a weird dark place.
Yeah.
Things were happening. There was a dark poem. But actually, I've done a lot of self-exploratory, and 2024 was one of the best years of my life.
In what way?
And I can't quite put a finger on why. I mean, I did a lot of traveling, which is one of the things I wanted to do more. I mean, I went to 5 different countries. First time I went to Asia, we went to Asia together. My first backpacking experience, which actually brought me out of my comfort zone, staying in a hostel for the first bloody time and meeting new people. Had a bit of a summer fling. Yeah, 2024 has just been a really amazing year, and I've done a lot of things, achieved a lot of things. Like, I finished last year with a promotion, and now I'm getting a promotion in January.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was looking back at my 5-year plan that I made, moving abroad, starting a PhD, doing a couple of years of a successful career, which is what I've done, having a home, which is what I've created here, but I think my aspirations are starting to grow, and I'm starting to think a bit bigger about what I want for my life and the purpose and the legacy that you have for yourself.
Okay, interesting.
Hence why I've always wanted to do a PhD, which creates that. However, I think I need to be a bit less egocentric in a way. I think that can be very insular.
What do you mean by that?
I love academia and I love research, and a lot of my degrees were focused on my own sexuality, and I did my undergraduate dissertation on my coming out of the closet, and like it was in the first person. And I interviewed other gay people, and I uncovered how it was to come out in different spaces. Writing that dissertation, all in first person, and reflecting on my own coming out and the way that my bullying through school and self-realization, self-actualization, that was huge for my own journey. Writing in first person when you shouldn't be writing dissertations in first person, I really challenged the norm. And I was like, I was on this high. It was amazing. Like, this was based on my own hard work and my own life and my own lived experience, and I used that lived experience to propel myself and elevate myself, but actually helping me and other people around me. I mean, the interviews that I had with people helped them come to terms with their sexuality.
That's really incredible.
If I hadn't have done that dissertation, I think I'd be in a different place right now.
Do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think that place would have been?
Like, it would have taken me
longer,
yeah. And I think writing can really help you do that. So that's why I want to do a PhD, to explore that further. But
you touched on the egocentric element. What would you want it to, like, how would it differ?
Well, I wanted to do a PhD on twins, the relationship between twins and sexuality, because there is a relationship between twins and them being gay or bisexual. So I'd want to explore that. But the older I've got, the more I realise that I want to do something bigger. I want to start my own business.
And what would that look like to you?
You know what, I have no idea right now, but it will be a non-profit social enterprise. And that's
CIC?
A lot of people here won't know what CIC is.
A community interest company. But we need to wrap it up.
I'm hung one bung.
Okay. You know what, I think that's been quite a valuable conversation for the both of us, both to deepen my understanding of you and also...
Can you get any deeper understanding of me?
Yeah, I think that...
We're like onions.
I think that everyone has layers, because at the end of the day, think about it, right? We each put on... I think this stems back to the thing with relationships you were talking about. We each put on a different mask for each individual. Like, the way I perceive you will be different from the way that Arzen perceives you, and also then different from the way that you perceive yourself. Do you know what I mean? So I think that there is never a point at which you learn everything that you need to learn. Especially, I think that's why relationships have the potential to get stagnant, because you become complacent in who your partner is.
Yeah.
When in reality, there is so much more to that individual if you just keep the fire alive and you keep digging. But yeah, we're gonna wrap this up now.
Look at your little knock knees there.
We're gonna don't talk about right. If we're gonna talk about my knock knees, yeah, my knock knees are one of my biggest insecurities. I just want to say thank you so much for sharing a lot of that with me. I think that I learned some new things about you, and it's great to see that we're, for me, like with the gym stuff, I forget, because sometimes I think I put you on a pedestal of like you're again a very handsome, like stereotypically like successful person, and for you to openly admit that even for you stepping foot in a gym can...
Why is it even for me? Like, when you say, what do you mean when you say even for me?
Because my perception of attractive people is that they can go into any space and own it. If I saw...
That's not true.
If I saw you walking down the street and someone said, "Oh, he's run a marathon. Or like if you were just on your first run, I'd be like, bloody hell, he looks like a brilliant runner, doesn't he?
Have you seen me run?
No. But I would assume, based on the way that you look, I suppose this comes into the play of like pretty privilege or whatever else. I would assume that you are already like 10 steps ahead. So sometimes I think it's nice to realise that, and I'm not saying that you being anxious about the gym makes me feel good. I don't feel like that. But it reminds me that we all have similar emotions and similar feelings, despite how others might perceive us. So for me, my perception of you is you have your shit together. You are cool as.
You know that's not true.
And you're hot. Yeah, but that's how, if I didn't know you, I would perceive you. But even still, even though I know you, I think you do have a level of all those things regardless.
That makes me a bit sad.
Why?
Because I don't want you to put me on a pedestal. Because that's not... Yeah.
But when I say I put you on a pedestal, I find you aspirational.
I think when you say pedestal, that feels loaded to me. That's a very loaded thing to say.
Do you think?
Mm.
And
understanding, getting to the root above that is interesting.
I look at you and I think you're really cool and I want to be more like you.
Oh.
Is what I mean by all of that. I think that there's a value to having people around you that you perceive to be in a position where you would like to go, and it is the bedrock of what pushes you sometimes to reevaluate who you are and make yourself better, because you want, again, it's like you want to fit in, but also you want to have the things that those individuals have. So that's what I mean by all of that. I don't mean it with any malice or impact, but it's from a place of love.
That's nice to hear. I also find you very aspirational. And there are many things that you do that I cannot do. And I think in some ways you have a lot more confidence and motivation than I do. I mean, to give up all the things that you've talked about in this podcast. I think to be like is very principled, ardent. I love that word.
I don't know what that means.
It just means very passionate, and you're like, when you want to do something, you'll do it, and you have the willpower to do, and you are so strong that you're probably one of the strongest people that I know in my life.
Bean.
I mean, you've been through a lot.
Yeah.
Not that I shouldn't put you on a pedestal for that either, because we all go through stuff in our life, but for you to actually reflect on how those things have affected your life and how you're moving forward with that shows strength.
But you know, you have the exact same thing. Everything that you've just said in the last hour is that. You've discussed how you faced school and your childhood and your sexuality, albeit very briefly, but those were struggles that you faced and you still face to this day, but you still choose to move past it and try and make a shift in your own perception and others.
I got a lot more struggles.
Pardon?
I got a lot more as well.
Exactly. But that doesn't keep you down. You still choose to get up each day and make something out of it.
And that's what's so interesting about everyone. Like, everyone faces struggles in their life. And it was a good friend of mine said once, she'd been through a lot and some grief in her family, and I felt bad for coming to her with my what seemed trivial stuff, and she said to me, Jack, look, no, this is what I'm going through, this is the biggest thing in my life, that's what you're going through, that's the biggest thing in your life, don't compare yourself to other people and what their struggles are. Yeah,
that was one of the most profound pieces of information.
It is, and I live by that. And life is shit, but it is literally what you make of it.
You have two options. You can either choose to let shit get you down, or you can
and wasting your life thinking about it.
Or you can use it to change something.
I mean, I've been having I've always had an existential fear of death. Sometimes it's a bit unhealthy, and then if I think about death or dying, I can almost have panic attacks. Sometimes I can't sleep, and the pure non-existence of death. This is why sometimes I think I wish I had faith in something. Maybe that's my journey. But that's a whole different story. And talking about, I think this year, what I want to do is come to terms with death and really pushing my through that fear, because sometimes I think what lets us down or what pulls us back is fear.
Should we go skydiving?
No, I cannot do skydiving. I was thinking about this yesterday. I was watching this bloke skydive without a fucking parachute.
Yeah, no.
And he was in the air and people were like putting a parachute on him. No, what's the point?
Did he die?
No. I would never go swimming with sharks. CBA. Can't do that. There is a point up to which you're fucking stupid.
Okay, so how are you going to tackle this fear of death?
Live the life the way I want to and have no regrets, because life is very fleeting, and that is the scary thing, is that one day, tomorrow, I might not be here. Tragic things happen, as we both know.
I think that if you live your each day in the way that you want to be and who you aspire to be, you make peace with the fact that you might no longer exist, because there is nothing more that you could do. You are trying your best every single day. And that can change throughout the course of your life. Like, it could become bigger or smaller or whatever. But if day by day you know that you've hit all your targets, you could be gone tomorrow and you're like, well, I did what I need to do. Yeah,
exactly. And knowing that you did what you wanted to do. But
then
you
don't achieve them.
Yeah,
you're
but then
the steps.
Obviously let's circle right back to the beginning thing I said about being slow. Sometimes you have to be slow to take a breath, to do the things that you want to do. And so there is a balance that you must find, because life will become, or has become, exhausting. And I think there is beauty in taking that breath and thinking about what you want to achieve. Fuck you now.
On that note, I'm going to ask you one more question before we wrap up. So we'll definitely be having more conversations on this podcast in the
think the
future.
Conversation about death is an interesting one.
I think it's a very interesting one too, and we will have that conversation. What's a question based on how you are right now that you want to ask to your future self on this podcast?
What have I done to make myself happier?
That would be really nice.
I think it's a good question.
Thank you very much for your time. I love you and your energy.
I love you, Bean.
Oh, I love you, Bean. Forever and always. You are the best. Anyway, let's go and have a beautiful dinner and leave it there. Okay. Bye, Oh, wait. What message do you want to give to the listeners? A little bye-bye?
I hope that you can... I want listeners to take something away from what you listen to on Mel's podcast and actually just join the dialogue.
Yeah.
I think some of these are really big things, but like I said, we all go through stuff like this.
Yeah.
And we're not alone. I think anyone can take something away for their own life.
So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your time and your energy today. I hope you have the best day, night, evening, morning, wherever the fuck you are. And
did you need to swear?
Yeah. Catch you in the next one. Bye.
Ta-ra.
Ta-ra.